Hello, this is Catherine from Accelerated Reader, reading books for you. Today, I will be reading Chapter 5 from A Little Twirly Story of Candy by Debra Harkins and Thanh Huynh, illustrated by Sergio Drumond. Before I begin reading, I would like to give a big thanks to the authors and Purple Owl Publishing for sending me this book to read on my channel. In the description below, I've included links where you may find and purchase this book. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Chapter 5, Chewing Gum, From Sap to Wax. Flattery is like chewing gum. Enjoy it, but don't swallow it. Hank Ketcham. Is gum candy? And if so, why? Note that gum's status also determines whether this piece should be posted on candy websites. After all, if it's not candy, why be here at all? Yet, we're chewing on the existential meaning of candy here. If you want to know whether gum's candy, the answer, drumroll please. We don't know. You see, North American gum started out in the form of spruce tree resin. The Native Americans introduced the chewing of resin from trees to the European settlers in the 17th to 18th century. The Central American Indians used the sapodilla tree resin to make gum. Guess what the name for people who tap the trees for this resin? Chicleros. Sound familiar? That's 'cause the sap collected from the sapodilla tree is called chicle. Yep, chicle, gum that is chewed all across America. The ancient Greeks and Mayans had their own versions for gum resin as they tapped from the mastic tree that produces a sweet-smelling, albeit smoky flavored gum. Mastic was used to clean teeth, freshen breath, and calm the stomach. And aside to chew on, you know we always go aside. Mastic means to chew in Greek, and mastic gum is still very popular in Europe. Most gum today is not made from tree resin, but from paraffin wax or some weird synthetic gum bases. Today, gum manufacturers are tight-lipped about their gum-based ingredients. Who wants some tree back in their gum? Anyway, chewing along, gum, rather than being made from mostly sugar, came from trees. Interesting aside here, candy stems from the Arabic word for sugar, candy. So, in the case of gum, trees, 1, candy, 0. Let's get back to our American spruce resin gum. The first person to sell spruce resin gum commercially was John B. Curtis, who developed chewing gum in the form of sticks in 1848, Portland, Maine, and sold it as the State of Maine Pure Spruce Gum. Talk about an informative name, right? 2 years later, in 1850, he opened the Curtis and Sons Company, monopolizing the chewing gum industry for roughly 20 years. Within 2 decades, he managed to build the first brick building dedicated to chewing gum in the United States in 1866. Factory, Curtis and Son Company, first brick chewing gum factory built in the United States. In circa 1850, while Curtis and Sons ran the gum industry, there was a movement to use paraffin wax as a gum base. Curtis started using paraffin wax as a gum base as an alternative to his original spruce tree gum recipe. The new recipe eventually surpassed the old spruce recipe in customer popularity. Why? No one knows for sure, but either way, more popularity equals more money for the company. Paraffin thereby gradually replaced spruce resin. On the upside of the story, the spruce trees is saved from decline by chewing gum fanatics. Paraffin wax. Discovered in the 1830s, paraffin wax is a white, odorless chemical compound extracted from petroleum. Currently, it is used as a food additive in chewing gum and is also used in candles, wax paper, polishes, cosmetics, electrical insulators, to name a few. Encyclopedia Britannica. So, swallow or spit. Anyway, by the end of the Curtis monopoly, 2 doctors, yes, you read that right, doctors, within months of each other received patents for their own versions of gum. In July 27, 1869, dentist Amos Tyler of Toledo, Ohio, received the first U.S. gum patent for his white resin, aka pine tree sap and olive oil gum. Water white resin. In December 28, 1869, physician William F. Semple of Mount Vernon, also Ohio, received a patent for his rubber charcoal and chalk gum. At this point, swallowing is really discouraged. Moving along, despite the patents, neither doctor sold their gums. Chewing gum, not dental gum, mind you, commercially. Chicle gum. Later on, New York inventor Thomas Adams was introduced to the Mexican Malilcara chicle, aka the sapodilla tree, by the exiled former president and general of Mexico, who was pretty old by that time, Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, aka the man who recaptured the Alamo for Mexico. Anna had hoped that Adams would use it as a replacement for rubber and help them both get rich. Chicle as rubber? Interesting. In 1871, Thomas Adams received the first patent for a chewing gum machine. Using that machine, he manufactured Adams' New York No. 1 chewing gum made with a chicle base. Manicara chicle. Adams' New York No. 1 was sold as small gumballs in colorful tissue paper in drugstores for a penny apiece. Chicle has changed hands several times from American Chicle to a pharmaceutical company named Warner Lambert to Pfizer 2000 to Cadbury 2003. Are you chewing on the realization that candy companies often eat or chew each other up a lot? We too. Do you need some gum now to calm your belly and nerves? Anyways, Adams continued to use chicle when he founded Adams & Co. in 1876, Manhattan, New York, and made the first flavored gum in 1884. The gum, named Blackjack, was made using licorice, unlike today's blackjack gum, which is anise flavored. In 1888, Adams became the first person to introduce the coin-operated vending machine to the U.S. Note that the first vending machine in history sold holy water in Egypt. Seriously, holy water. His chicle-based gum dispensing machine made its debut in New York City's subway station. It sold Tutti Frutti gum. On June 3, 1899, New Jersey, the conglomerate American Chicle Company, known as the Chewing Gum Trust, was formed from 5 of the United States' largest chewing gum manufacturers: Yucatan Gum, Adams Gum, B-Man's Gum, Kiss Me Gum, and St. Britain. These 5 companies controlled 85% of the U.S. chewing gum industry of the time. Then the chewing, merging, and acquiring of gum companies got really crazy. Wrigley, last but not least in the gum world, is Wrigley Gum, jumping to Chicago, Illinois of 1891. William Wrigley Jr., founder of the famous Wrigley Company, started giving out 2 packages of gum as a bonus to customers who bought his baking powder products as a sales promotion. It worked like a charm. 2 years later, in 1893, he sold his first pack of juicy fruits. Notice a difference? A few months later, Wrigley Jr. introduced Wrigley's Spearmint. Did you ever wonder why chewing gum and baseball are so connected? Well, that's because William Wrigley bought the baseball team, the Chicago Cubs, and renamed the baseball park Wrigley Field in 1927. Chewing aside, Wrigley is the oldest baseball park in the U.S. National League, with a current seating capacity of over 41,000. We imagine Wrigley gave lots of gum to his players to help them play ball. Wrigley Company was led by members of the Wrigley family until 2006. And by 2008, Mars Incorporated owned Wrigley, making Mars the largest maker of chewing gum in the world. That's the end of our chewy tale of gum. Now time to search for gum. And if you're adventurous, you can try to make some spruce tree gum. Feel free to pause this video so that you may complete this activity. Recipe for making spruce gum. 1. Find a black spruce tree. Easiest to find in Northern American. Can tell it's a black spruce by its blue-green pine needles. 2. Look for cracks or splits in the tree where you'll find the hardened resin gum. 3. Take about 6 to 8 big chunks or more. 4. Put hardened resin in a disposable or cheap screen on top of a pot. Double boiler, stirring and cooking slowly. Heat no higher than 300 degrees. 5. Gum resin will seep through screen into pot, leaving just dark bark, dirt, and leaves. 6. Pour the gum resin into disposable straw-shaped molds. These molds can be made with aluminum foil. Be sure to squeeze the end of aluminum molds so resin does not seep out. 7. Put in refrigerator to cool. 8. When cool, take out of molds and coat with cornstarch. 9. Cut into bite-sized pieces and wrap in small pieces of parchment paper. Twist ends of parchment paper to make bite-sized pieces of gum. 10. Chew immediately. Give away some to friends and/or save the rest for later. Yummy! Gum mergers, divestments, and acquisitions. 1983, Leaf Group Gum and Candy Business acquires 4 gum companies: Leaf Confectionery, Clark Gum, Richardson Brands, and General Mills Donruss. Hutamek divests Leaf Gum to Damel in 1998. CSM buys Leaf from Huhtamäki in 1999. 1985. Finland's gum company Huhtamäki acquires U.S. Ford Gum and Machine and Wuxi Leaf in 1997. 1992, Marvel Entertainment, yes, that comics publisher, buys Fleer Gum, and then Canadian Concord Confections buys Double Bubble and Fleer from Marvel, another comic book company, in 1998, and acquires Philadelphia Chewing Gum in 2003. 1993, Cadbury in 1993 buys its first chewing gum through acquisition of Argentina gum company Stanley. Then in 2000, they buy Kraft's Hollywood chewing gum business and Finland's Huhtamaki gum company, Wuxi Leaf. 2002, they buy Dandy's gum brand, acquires 51% stake in Turkey's Kent Gita gum and candy business in 2002, buys Adams Global Gum Division from Pfizer in 2003, by remaining 49% of Kent Gita in 2006. 1996, Hershey takes over production of Bazooka gum from Topps and acquires Leaf's gum brands in 1996, buys Fruit Strip and Bubble Yum gum brands and mints from Nabisco in 2000, sells Fruit Stripe, Rainbow, and Super Bubble Gum brands to U.S. Farley and Southers Candy in 2003. 2003, Ireland's Zed Gum acquires Leaf from CSM. 2004, Tootsie Roll Industries acquires Canada's Concord Confections. 2005, Wrigley Company acquires Lifesavers and Altoids from Kraft Food in 2005. 2008, Mars purchases Wrigley in 2008 and merges Wrigley into new subsidiary called Mars Wrigley Confectionery in 2016. Homemade Chicle Gum. Chicle Gum base from Glee Gum. Sweetener, cornstarch or powdered sugar. Wax paper, disposable glass container, will be ruined, so don't use a favorite. Disposable utensil, again, it will not survive. Pot with water. Flavoring, vanilla extract, strawberry extract, etc. Citric acid if using fruit flavoring. Step 1. Put chicle base in jar, enough to reach 1/4 of the jar, and put jar into the pot of boiling water, making sure the water does not get into the jar. Boil the water for about 20 minutes until chicle is melted. Stir frequently. Step 2. Mix in a few drops of flavoring and citric acid if fruit flavored. Step 3. Pour powdered sugar or cornstarch onto wax paper. Remove the chicle from jar and then on wax paper. Step 4. Cut into pieces and serve. Wrap extras in wax paper. Stay tuned for Chapter 6. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. In the description below, I've included links for me to find and purchase this book.